So,
Yes.
Cathy,
Yes.
what are we actually doing here?
Well, I'm here for the free whiskey. I don't know what you're doing here.
Free whiskey would imply we have sponsors that have paid for this.
No, you're paying for the whiskey.
I did buy some of the whiskey.
Yeah.
So this isn't a whiskey podcast.
No.
Just for clarity. This is a podcast about people that drink too much whiskey.
Yes.
But when we drink whiskey, we're opinionated.
Oh, very.
And the problem with us is we have very strong opinions that are typically wrong.
One of us is.
No. I think that typically we are both wrong, but would never ever admit it. And the more whiskey we drink, the better. But one of the most egregious things you have ever said to me is that Irish whiskey is definitively the greatest thing in the history of the world and all drinks.
Yeah.
So I wanted to put this to the test. And this is me putting pen to paper, actually doing the acid test. Can you tell Irish whiskey apart from other whiskies?
Okay.
So to do that, we're going to drink a bit of whiskey and argue our opinions. And that's what we're going to call whiskey and no chill.
I think we just predicted that once we drink whiskey, we will have no chill.
Well, I don't think we have chill.
No.
But we have less chill, less inhibitions as we go. Not a whiskey podcast.
No.
I think we'll talk about whiskey today.
Yes.
To get us going.
Yeah.
And taste whiskey.
Yeah.
And so what we have, every episode we have two whiskies in front of us. I know what they are.
Yeah.
Cathy doesn't know. We have them labelled glass A, glass B. They look the same. They probably smell a bit different. We're not connoisseurs. What do we know?
Certainly not.
One of them is Irish. One of them is a Scotch. And we will reveal at the end of this episode whether or not we can tell them apart.
See, there's no pressure on you here because you're not Scottish.
No.
But I am Irish. So if I fuck this up, like, they'll take my passport off me.
This is why it's funny.
For you. Everyone's wrong, and this is why.
I've been thinking a lot about opinions.
Oh, yeah?
And so I think there's kind of three types of opinions that we have.
Okay.
There's the hook that I base this idea around, which is I have an opinion and you have an opinion, and we are pole opposite, like coming to blows, pole opposite sometimes, verbally sparring, eviscerating comments. And that's funny, and that's cool. We'll use those. There's opinions where one of us, typically you, has a very strong opinion on a matter.
I knew there was an insult coming. This is what I was bracing myself for.
And the other party is going, meh. And we have some of those things too. And then there's the kind of opinions where we actually agree with each other. Unusual, but it happens. But the rest of the world could just fuck right off.
100%, yeah. Everyone's wrong, and this is why.
Let me explain to you why all of you are wrong and I'm right.
Yeah.
And I think we'll have lots of those. So my plan is to have a major point per episode, be it whiskey, turkey, the A2405.
Oh, fuck me, don't even get me started.
I'm really looking forward to that episode, what that road's done to you. And we have hundreds of things on this list, ranging from movies to countries to drinks to ingredients. I don't want to get too specific and spoil anything. To famous franchises. I'm going to spoil that one. People in general is a category that you wrote down.
That was me. Yeah. Do you know when we started that list, and then every so often I'd be like, oh, fuck that guy. And then I would put it on the list, and you said, I'm going to make a spreadsheet. And I thought, oh shit, I don't know if we've got enough stuff on there. I don't know if I put enough stuff in. And then the spreadsheet's over like 100 things already. But then for a split second, I went, oh, can't believe I'm so annoyed about things. And then I remembered, like, I've known myself a long time. I'm not surprised in the slightest. I'm surprised it's as short as it is, frankly.
There are things on this list that I wrote down in an absolute rage. And I cannot tell you why.
Well, that's going to be a really dull episode.
Well, most of them won't work. And that's fine. That's entertainment. That's how these things go. We're not going to force it. We're not going to over push it. These are just things that we passionately care about for no obvious reason.
Well, for a very good obvious reason. Because we're right.
But we can't both be right.
That's because you're wrong.
This is why
this will be revealed to you slowly over the course of the coming months.
We have 2 whiskies in front of us. Do we want to... I think we want to say out loud what they are, don't we?
Yeah.
So I'm just going to reveal the list here because I've covered it up. So Cathy does not know. I, your co-host Brad, do. We have a Sailor's Home Irish whiskey.
From Limerick.
Is it really?
The maddest part of Ireland.
Oh, I love Limerick. I got to go there once. Great place. Very hospitable. Lovely people.
Sweet Annie Fitz.
I don't know what that means.
Don't worry about it.
And we also have Arran, 10-year-old Scotch.
It is quite nice.
We have had a bit of that before. That is one of our everyday drinks.
Yes.
That is what we call an office drink.
Yes.
Which is what we drink after hours.
Yes.
At our respective place of... Respective? We work at the same place. At our place of work.
Well, my place of work is like 2 up and 1 over from you.
In the corporate environment that we find ourselves in during our working day.
Yeah.
What do we think? Do you want to try some? Do you want to have a preliminary think about it? Do you want to have a little sip?
I've just not been listening to you and staring at the whiskey.
I can see, for the audio listeners of this podcast, Cathy is staring intently at 2 glasses of whiskey with a very generous pour in each of them.
That is quite a pour. That isn't even a finger, that's a thumb of whiskey. Is that a thing?
It should be. I'm not being polite. I'm going in.
Yay. Oh my God.
And we're not like smart enough people to discuss botanicals or brioche or whatever.
Brioche.
I don't think. What do I know? I'm the kind of person that goes to events and people give you whiskey and say, can't you taste the subtle undertones of smoke? And I'm like, yes.
Sure.
More free, please.
No, I need some more to try and pick out the smoke you mentioned.
It could be an interesting challenge for you. This should be an easy intro because one of them's an everyday whiskey for us and one of them's quite new.
That is really perfumey.
Switch.
You go get some DKNY, don't you?
Well, oh, bless. Ooh, it's going to be interesting later on, I think, when we reveal or later when you give your guess.
Uh-oh.
And I'm giving away nothing on this one. So, whilst you sip that, I'll give you time to think of your answer. But, Cathy, tell me, why is Irish whiskey, despite the fact it's spelled wrong, better?
Wow. Look, first of all, we care enough about whiskey that we are prepared to buy all the letters to spell it properly. Unlike Scotland, you couldn't be asked to put the E in there. Second of all, I went to a Scottish whiskey distillery and part of their presentation was, yeah, we made this Scotch and we were really excited about it and it was great. But there was one problem. Irish whiskey. And that's what they said in the actual presentation. They said everyone preferred Irish whiskey over Scotch because Irish whiskey is just inherently better. At the Scotch distillery, they said that. And I sat in the audience going, you! So it's not just me that thinks it. It is the good people of the Whiskey Experience Edinburgh who think it as well.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Whiskey, well, I mean, my main grievance with Scotch whiskey, obviously, is the whole peated thing.
Because you have this unbelievable opinion that Scotch means peated.
It traditionally did. In the olden days.
Ye olde days.
In ye olde daisies, you made Scotch over an open peat fire. That's just what you did. You roasted the malt or the barley or whatever you were using.
I might be a dirty foreigner, but I thought peat was because that was what they had, and if you had wood, you used wood, and you had whatever.
No.
You burned what you burned.
No, it's not what you burn. Obviously, peat is an awesome smell, and this peat smoke smells amazing. But they roasted it over an open fire. In Ireland, they had a closed container, and it basically got roasted in like an oven, so the smoke didn't get in. So there's no smokiness to the Irish whiskey, traditionally. Now you can get peated Irish whiskey, which tastes like ass, or you can get Scotch whiskey that isn't peated that tastes really nice, which I didn't know, and had always avoided Scotch because every time I drank, like, what do you call it? Lafroig.
Lafroig, other peated whiskies or other pronunciations are probably available.
Yeah, I deliberately call it that because frig means frig off. Because it's dreadful. I hate it. Because it just tastes like a bonfire. And why would you want that? The other thing about Irish whiskey is that it's triple distilled. Why? To be sure.
Jesus.
It's not my joke. That is the good people at Bushmills' joke. But it is true. It is triple distilled. And it just makes it, all right, so the flavour's not as intense as Scotch. It's not necessarily as complicated as some Scotches you might get. But it also doesn't taste like ass, like a lot of Scotch does. Yeah.
Wow, that's the people of Scotland told.
I'm a quarter Scottish, I can say it.
See, I've got no skin in this game, and I recognise this. I'm from New Zealand. Like, most of the Scottish distilleries I've been to, most of the stills I've seen are older than my country. You know? They're just like, oh yeah, no, we laid that down in 1652 or whatever. I'm like, yeah, no, we weren't even, you white guys hadn't even found us yet.
Yeah.
Good God. It's like the history in these places is ridiculous.
1603, 05, 08 for Bushmills.
Seriously.
Bushmills is the oldest distillery in the world.
See, in retort to your argument, is if you say to someone, whiskey, not you, with your opinions, but the average general person, there is a presumption you mean Scotch.
Then why wouldn't you say Scotch?
Because you don't. You don't say whiskey if you mean Irish. You don't say whiskey if you mean American bourbon. If you say whiskey, you're probably talking Scotch whiskey. Unless if you say New Zealand whiskey or English whiskey, as we saw earlier today.
English whiskey.
I know, right? Apparently they make it. I've had Welsh before. The Pendragon, it's
don't know how I feel
Japanese, American, whatever.
Yeah.
But if you say whiskey, the presumption is unless you specify country, you're talking about Scottish whiskey, right?
Scotch kind of took off. I think it's because they come up with this whole idea of blends. They started blending everything. And then it made their whiskey nicer.
How dare they make a product that people want to enjoy?
Well,
or internal consistency.
Ireland. How dare they? I thought they were on our side.
Did
we were buds.
Is blending Scottish?
That's a very Scottish thing.
No way.
The old blend. Well, they had to compete with us. They had to do something.
My favourite kind of like flavour story ever. A Narrow Road to the Deep North. About to come out on streaming services. Not sponsoring this podcast, unfortunately. But if you want to, give me a call. There's a really good story from the book that they made the TV series out of. And the guy is, I think it's the Korean War. He's an Australian. And he gets captured by the North Koreans. And to try and curry favour with his North Korean guard, he gives them some chocolate from his ration pack.
Oh, that's nice.
And that makes sense, right? You know, and the North Korean like looks and goes, "That's a bit weird. What is this?" And he goes like, he mimes like, "You eat it, eat it." And gives him a piece and eats it. And so the North Korean guy takes a bite out of it and spits it out. He's never had anything so foul in his life. He like physically beats the guy.
This is galaxy. I wanted dairy milk.
Because it was to him, it was such a really bizarre flavour he'd never had before. He didn't know what was going on.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, that will happen. I can understand that. Because there's a lot of stuff that it's not that you don't like it, it's just you've never experienced anything that tasted that weird before. Like durian fruit. First time you have that, you're like, fuck.
One of the great curses of my life is I missed a durian fruit tasting experience thing.
Oh.
I could just go buy it. I get that. Like we have it here in this country. But I was in...
but how do you cook it?
I don't know. I was in Malaysia once for an event. And... they were like, "Oh, you international people who are lovely and awesome and welcome to our country. And at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, come downstairs and we're having a durian tasting experience outside." Funny enough, in the hotel we're staying at. Meet in the foyer and we'll go outside and then taste this fruit, which for listeners who don't know, it smells like death. Yeah, it smells like all that is wrong with the world today. But apparently tastes phenomenal.
It's really good.
I've never actually tasted it because having arrived in Kuala Lumpur after, a 12-hour flight from London, and finding my room and falling asleep, I woke up literally 12 hours later. Like I just passed out and 12 hours of my life are gone. I just turned the computer off and woke back up again and went, well, what are you going to do?
And then it was like, ding, 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 ding. I'm awake again.
Yeah, it was incredible. I woke up, I went to sleep and it was sunny, and I woke up, it was sunny, but a different day. That's how long I slept. And I overslept at breakfast. No.
It was just a dreamless sleep.
I literally, the button was turned off.
Wow.
And then the button was turned back on again and I was activated. It was, to this day, top 3 best sleeps I've had in my life.
Oh, really?
It was just bizarre. And I woke up refreshed and wonderful and jet lagged out and just got on with my life. It was fantastic.
I don't think I've ever had a night's sleep where I didn't dream, and I have the most complicated, vivid dreams, which makes me wake up tired.
Are you a lucid dreamer?
I have in the past been able to do lucid dreaming, but I don't have control over when I have control over it, if that makes sense.
When I drink too much, I dream more. Is that a thing?
Yes.
When I drink too much of this fine whiskey, for example.
Because you don't get into a very deep sleep if you've drunk stuff.
Checks out.
Yeah. So you sort of end up in that weird...
Yeah.
What's the word I'm looking for? Liminal space between awake and asleep.
I'm just turning around to the AB because I'm drinking too much of the glass B and not enough of glass A.
Yeah, you're drinking too much of the nice one.
Oh, I'm sorry. Too much of the potentially Irish one. Are you willing to make a guess? It's a bit early for that. Hold your horses.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident.
I wonder if I can just mess with you here, like really, really. You ever see like Sean Locke and...
The carrot?
Yeah, carrot in the box is exactly what I was going to... I love that bit.
Yeah, everyone loves that bit.
It's incredible. The amount of talent that those two guys have to make something that's so simple, so funny.
Yeah.
They're incredible. The way they commit to that bit.
It's John Richardson, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Sean Locke and John Richardson. They've done it 3 times, I think. Favourite comedian? Go. I can't choose on demand.
Probably Billy Connelly.
I mean, oh my lord. Billy Connelly. I went to a Billy Connelly live show once and I laughed so hard.
Yeah.
I wanted...
A respirator.
I wanted them to stop telling jokes because it hurt. It physically hurt. My abs was so sore.
Yeah, and my face was just aching from laughing at it. This one thing, to this day, like there's just one thing I could do to my mum and she'll be in bits laughing at it as well because of that show.
Yeah,
funny.
We went to Billy Connelly when I was about 14 or 15, I reckon, maybe 16 even, but that kind of era of like awkward teenager.
On your own?
No, this is the best part, is my slightly quite conservative parents took me. Just quite brave for them. And me and my older brother, and I was the younger person in that relationship by far. I'm 4 years younger than my brother. So my brother and I and my conservatively inclined parents went to see Billy Connelly.
Oh, wow.
And he gave a hilarious bit about getting a blowjob.
Oh, I wonder what bit that was.
And it was just like, it's just 4 people just crying with laughter while not trying to acknowledge the fact that anyone else in this group is crying with laughter or anyone else here knows what he's... That's exactly... That exact phrase was said afterwards. Why did you find it funny? Nothing. Why did you find it funny? Nothing.
Because everyone was laughing.
Yeah, I was laughing along.
Just infectious laughter.
Oh, yeah. He's got that ability to tell a story.
Yep.
That lasts for 3 hours and has 16 segues.
Yes, yeah.
And then somehow at the end of it...
He gets back.
Yes, without even like seeming like there's effort, and it's so polished and so perfect, and you know he's a consummate professional. He makes it look so natural. Just to come back to the first bit, the first hook, hours later.
But I don't know that he is. I don't think that he's a consummate professional because that makes it sound like he, sits in a study with like leather patches on his jacket and like makes notes and shit like that. I don't think he does. I think he's just naturally a raconteur and a fantastically funny storyteller, and will turn up with like one story in mind. Like I'm going on stage to tell them this one thing that happened when I went scuba diving after having watched Jaws. But he thinks of things while he's standing there and it just sort of rolls out of him.
See, I disagree. I genuinely speaking disagree with you. I agree with everything you said. Consummate, amazing storyteller. He's got this ability to just tell you something that's funny. I love the way a comedian can just start laughing whilst telling a story.
Yeah.
And that is them losing control almost, but you're laughing because they're laughing. They haven't even told the bit yet. Like... The dog was addicted to heroin.
Yeah.
That's an inside joke for the audience, who may or may not ever find out what that refers to. But I've seen...
Think.
Oh, nothing funnier than jokes that no one else gets.
Well, that's the whole premise of my podcast, isn't it?
Fair enough. You can find Cathy's other podcast
No, you can't.
No good streaming services because it can't find it anywhere.
Oh, no good streaming services like Spotify.
I have to have 2 apps on my phone. We are so off topic. I'm coming back to Billy Connelly. I have notes on... No. We can leave this. I have 2 podcast apps on my phone. One for the podcast that I listen to professionally and personally in my life.
And that is...
Pocket Cast.
Pocket Cast.
I used to use Google Podcasts until they took it away, and I like that because it was ad-free and simple and basic.
And we were on that.
Yep, fine. I was on it for a long time too, and one of my past podcasts that I'm not going to advertise because it was a corporate sellout.
Oh, you shittle.
And secondly, I have Podbean just for you. You're the only reason I have that app on my phone.
Oh, wow.
But I don't have Spotify because just annoying and very ad-ridden. And
oh, yeah, you need premium to listen to anything on Spotify, which fucks me off because it means if anyone listens to my podcast, Spotify are making money off it.
Yes.
And they're not even paying the hosting fees or anything. Podbean is.
Unless you're willing to sponsor us, then Spotify can give me a call at...
Spotify don't sponsor podcasts. It's a very circular business.
I bet they would. I bet there would be one of the big wigs. Like YouTube used to have the YouTube Creators Program or similar. Yeah. I bet there would be like, oh, look, Spotify's got...
Spotify's Creator Program.
Insert someone who I don't care about here, name. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so Billy Connelly.
Yes.
So I genuinely think that his performance was more polished than he made it seem.
Oh,
and I think that's because I've seen him do his stand-up routine, the same stand-up routine twice.
Yeah.
And the same jokes and the same off-topic comments and the same deviations that seem so natural and so random.
Yeah.
There was the same story. It was not linear in any way.
Yeah.
But the same weaving pathway was told.
But I think that's come from practice.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely, of course.
And I watched a program about Billy Connelly in which he said that he never writes anything down, ever.
That's phenomenal. The memory that guy must be incredible.
He doesn't write bits down. His wife said that she has seen him backstage absolutely freaking out because he's got nothing to say.
Really?
Yeah, and she's worried about him because she thinks he's just going to bomb on stage. And then he runs out there and he's like, "Can you hear what happened last week?" And then just nails it.
Does Billy Connelly like whiskey?
He in his early life, he liked anything that had alcohol in it.
Oh, he was a raging alcoholic for a smidge, wasn't he?
Yeah, and then went off all of it.
He used to have a whiskey that was like themed around him or something, or like his brand or something?
It should be like the Big Yin whiskey. That would be good.
The what?
Big Yin.
Is that what it's called? Or?
That's what he's called in Glasgow. He's the Big Yin because he's tall. He's very tall.
Checks out. A man after my own heart.
So his dad was called Billy, so his dad was Big Billy. So you would go into a bar and you'd say, "Has anyone seen Billy?" And they'd say, "Big Billy or Wee Billy?" And then you'd say, "The Big Yin." And they'd be like, "Oh, Wee Billy."
What?
That is such an Irish thing.
That didn't follow. That was the opposite of common sense.
Big Billy is his dad because he's his dad. So obviously Wee Billy has to be Wee Billy because he's not his dad.
Yeah.
His dad's his dad. Right? You with me so far? So his dad's automatically Big Billy. Wee Billy's bigger than Big Billy. He's the Big Yin.
Now, or when he grew up.
He grew up.
Yes. And so he went from being a young rapscallion to be a tall, lanky chap who couldn't weld.
Well, apparently not.
All I know
and
about.
Had to seek gainful employment elsewhere as a funny folk singer, as he originally thought. Yeah. So you would go into a bar and be like, "Where's Billy? Which Billy? Big Billy or Wee Billy?"
Yep.
The Big Yin. Ah, Wee Billy. Okay.
They did it to me on a plane once. I'm like, this plane cannot be that carefully balanced that you want this relatively small load of passengers on a relatively big airplane to space themselves out in this way. And they're like, no, we'd like you to sit over here, please, sir. And you know what you do on a plane? You do what you're told.
Yes.
There's 2 rules on a plane.
Yeah.
1, you don't make a crack about bombs.
No.
And 2, you do exactly what the stewardess says.
Yeah, and when you're told to do it. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Who are those pricks that stand up when the plane's landing? Honestly.
Huh?
Like, not when the plane... So, as soon as the plane lands...
Oh, those people!
Yeah, and the seatbelt goes, bing!
Where are you going?
Where the fuck are you going?
Yeah.
And then you're just going to stand there for 15 minutes. And sometimes, I will admit, I want to stretch my legs.
No.
And then I sit back down again afterwards.
No, see, Nat, so himself does this.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as that plane goes...
He's not that human being.
Belt off, and he's up.
Yep.
And I say to him, "Where are you going?"
Yeah.
And he says, "I've been sitting down for ages. I just want to stand up and stretch my legs." But he doesn't sit down again. He stays stood up, regardless of where he's sitting. Which means that the person sitting in the aisle seat is just going, "I'm not moving. We're going to be here for a while. I'm not standing up."
So there's all like 6 foot of himself just like crouched over under the overhead lockers.
Yeah, he's just standing there, going, "Ah."
It's one of my favourite photos of me and my lovely wife was getting on one of the planes back to New Zealand one day, just settling in for 24 hours of flying, and she's standing in her seat with her head not quite touching the overhead locker, and I'm just folded in half like the giraffe of a human being that I actually am.
I do believe your lovely wife and I are more suited to international travel than you are.
You fit in seats.
Do you know what I've always wanted to do?
You have always wanted to fly an airplane.
You really struggle with rhetorical questions, don't
you? You have always wanted to say, yes, I am a doctor when they ask on the airplane.
Fuck no. The exact opposite. No, it's in line with what you're talking about.
You have always wanted to sleep on an airplane?
Where have I always wanted to sleep on an airplane?
On the floor?
No.
On the roof?
No.
On the wing?
No, not outside the plane.
Just duct tapes down?
Think of the size of me. Where would I fit quite comfortably?
In the overhead locker?
Yeah.
No.
Always wanted to get in there.
Oh, that's terrifying.
Why?
I kind of want to see you in there now. Should we have ads on this podcast?
No.
Oh, okay. I was going to monetize this thing.
What do you mean by ads?
Well,
do we do them or?
One of my past podcasts actually had someone reach out and say, can we put ads on your podcast? And I was just like, what now? Like, we were just dicking about for funsies.
Yeah.
And we started getting people contacted and say, hey, we'd like to put ads on your podcast. Would you like to get involved? And I had to, for various work, sell-out podcast reasons, turn them down and say, no, we can't have ads on this podcast. But it would have been really fun to be like, I really want to get a check for 3 cents one day. And like frame that and just like whiskey and no chill, check.
3 cents.
Because we have costs. We buy whiskey, we bought microphones, we have software that someone else is paying for. We're doing great. But
yes.
It would be funny to see what we could get out of this.
Was there a no chill aspect to this episode?
I think you're an idiot. What do you want?
Okay. How am I supposed to argue that? I have no proof to the contrary.
What are we, intelligent people? No, the lack of chill is definitively in the whiskey. Your opinion that Irish whiskey is definitively the best you once defended Irish whiskey to the best because vanilla, and that was all you said. Irish whiskey's better because vanilla, and then you stopped talking.
It's got vanilla notes.
It doesn't have vanilla in it.
It fucking does. It doesn't have vanilla in it. Iron whiskey doesn't have hazelnuts in it. But it says on the whiskey I'm drinking at home at the minute says it's got meringue. Meringue, Brad. No one's stuffing meringue in a fucking whiskey.
I don't understand where they get these words from.
Do you really think they're standing there poking meringue in the bottle and giving it a good shake and then pouring it out again?
You should try my bacon flavoured bourbon. Spoiler, I put bacon in it.
Okay, well, yeah, to confuse.
Yeah, obviously. But like, where do they get these words from? Like,
I don't know.
Fuck you, it doesn't fucking taste crunchy and sweet.
Oh, for Christ's sake. It sounds like an ottolenghi recipe.
I love the food, but I can't be asked.
No, absolutely not. It's one of those things where...
I'll put it on the list.
Yeah. There's just certain things where it's easier to just go out and eat it somewhere else.
Ottolenghi.
I'm not blowing air up a duck. I will go out and get Peking duck.
Isn't that how you make Peking duck?
Yes. That's what I said.
Yes. Glad we went to the same point on that joke. I thought it was just some Irishism I didn't get. Like, not how to fuck spiders.
Look, I'm not blowing air up a duck. Seriously, Irish whiskey's better.
I genuinely thought that was just an Irishism I didn't know.
It is not. That's my new catchphrase. Don't even know what it means yet. It's going to be context dependent. Like, yeah, no, yeah.
Just we're having an argument one day and Cathy in the corner goes, what are you here to blow air up a duck? Just like the rest of the room's going, is that rude?
And you could be like, oh, it's an Irishism.
It's an Irishism, it's fine.
You don't know these things because you're not as international as me.
I've added ottolenghi is overrated and it's the number 118 on the list.
I do. Wow.
We have to do 117 more of these episodes.
Oh, cool. All right.
We get to.
I'm up for that.
That's the correct response. Thank you. So I want to ask you a question.
Okay.
It's a very important question.
Yeah.
This is the most important question I know. Which one do you like better? Do you like whiskey A or do you like whiskey B? Which one was closer to me at the start? A? Oh my lord. You can try them now and make your decision. I will leave you the last of the glasses.
What?
A was closer to you at the start.
No, I prefer B.
You prefer B?
Yeah.
Do you want the good news or the bad news?
I can already tell you that A is the Irish whiskey, and I can tell you that it's from Limerick because it's a hot mess, much like Limerick.
You are... I don't know if that makes you correct or incorrect. So you're saying you prefer the Scotch that we got on our match tasting today. Okay, fantastic. To be fair, the Irish is a bit younger, a bit newer.
Yep, it tastes it.
But you have picked on your first ever outing, you have preferred a Scotch over an Irish.
It is a non-peated Scotch, though.
Well, yeah, lots of Scotch is not peated.
These days, yeah.
Oh my God, this is not going to end, is it?
I'm never surrendering this point.
We're going to have an outro.
Oh.
We need to tell people where to find us on the socials, because real podcasts do that.
Oh, yeah.
So how do we do that?
Do we just tell them? Interpretive dance. It's not going to work on a podcast.
Semaphore.
That also not going to work on a podcast.
You can find us on...
When we make it a competition, if you can find us, we will send you.
I can make this competition. What social media channels are we on, Cathy?
We are on the Instagrams, the Blue Skies, and else?
I've got the list in front of me, so I know.
Well, why are you asking me then?
You can find us on Instagram at instagram.com/andnochill.
Yes.
Turns out having a name that can be spelled differently, like whiskey and whiskey, was a dumb move on my behalf. So on the social medias, you can find us on Instagram.com/andnochill. You can find us on Blue Sky, andnochill.bluesky.social. You can also find us on YouTube if you prefer to watch along as you listen.
Yeah.
YouTube.com/@andnochill, because you have to put the @ in the URL.
Oh, really?
You can even find us on the TikToks. I don't even know what a TikTok is, but we have one of those. TikTok.com/@andnochill. And even you can find us on Buy Me a Coffee, buymeacoffee.com/andnochill, where you can help support our debaucherous lifestyle.
I might have led with that one.
You can find us on the internet at whiskeyandnochill.com or whiskeyandnochill.com. That's right.
Yeah,
I got both. Figure it out.
So for the tiny percentage of you who are Irish and you spell it correctly, then you'll still get to come to our website.
Being right, clearly a democracy. And then we need a gentle, easy out. How do we do a gentle, easy out?
I've never done a gentle, easy out in my life.
You're joking there somewhere. Bye, everyone.